The first face-to-face meeting between Vladimir Putin and the UK's new Prime Minister has just been held alongside the G20 summit in China. Under Theresa May's predecessor, relations between Britain and Russia almost froze over completely. Now, RT's Daniel Hawkins joins me live now from the G20 summit. And Daniel, we're talking about a pretty significant meeting here, aren't we?
Indeed, Rory, it's been highly anticipated, and as you can see here behind me, just a few seconds ago, there's been a bit of a flurry of activity from the media gathered here as the world leaders start arriving, as screened on the big screen just behind me. Theresa May herself actually just entered the building just a few seconds ago before we went live. It's her first meeting, of course, with Vladimir Putin in her new capacity as Prime Minister of the UK. Such meetings, of course, are very important because they set the scene and set the tone for any future negotiations. And of course, there is a hope from both sides that the tone will be an improvement from that which existed with her predecessor, David Cameron. Of course, it won't all be an easy task, quite an uphill struggle at times, as the former British ambassador to Russia confirmed in an article on advising Theresa May on how to so-called deal with President Vladimir Putin. His main task, the Russian president's task, according to the ambassador, would be to create some sort of thaw in what's been a pretty frosty relationship with the UK over the last few years. There's certainly some differences that they will have to overcome at this beginning of their relationship, as Theresa May very clearly explained. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
While I recognise there will be some differences between us, there are some complex and serious areas of concern and issues to discuss, I hope we will be able to have a frank and open relationship and dialogue.
Well, let's take a look at what some of those differences are and those questions. First and foremost, of course, it will be the image of Russia as a threat to the UK and to Europe. It's an image we've seen portrayed quite a lot in mainstream media. Russian bombers over the channel, Russian military exercises. And secondly, also the alleged involvement of Vladimir Putin and Russia in the UK's Brexit referendum. Again, a wide portrayal in much mainstream media that Putin was somehow behind the Brexit campaign, the mastermind and the main beneficiary of the UK public's vote to choose to leave the EU. And finally, of course, last but not least, it's the question of sanctions on Russia by the UK with regards to the Ukraine crisis. Those talks, of course, will also be key. President Putin hoping to meet Theresa May and German Chancellor Angela Merkel to have some sort of progress there on the Minsk Accords. So certainly a lot to talk about, Rory, and a lot of material to cover for the array of world media assembled here at the Hangzhou Press Centre.
All right, RT's Daniel Hawkins there live at the G20. Thank you. It will be quite a busy day for Theresa May. It's her first major summit. And despite becoming the UK's Prime Minister only recently, her sense of style has already caught the attention of many. Earlier, Russia's president also met his Chinese counterpart ahead of the start of the summit. Vladimir Putin received a warm welcome in China and during the meeting said that he had brought a special gift. He recalled how Chinese businessmen had complained about the lack of Russian ice cream in their country and then revealed he had bought a whole tub for the Chinese leader. Now, Barack Obama arrived at the summit's host city yesterday, and it turns out what will be his last summit got off to a bit of a bumpy start.
As the reporters who traveled to the Group of 20 summit meeting with President Obama from Hawaii piled out and walked under the wing to record his arrival, we were abruptly met by a line of bright blue tape held taut by security guards.
This is our country, this is our airport, the official said in English, pointing and speaking angrily with the aide.
In another departure from protocol, there was no rolling staircase for Mr. Obama to descend in view of the television cameras. Instead, he emerged from a door in the belly of the plane that he usually uses only on high-security trips like those to Afghanistan.
A Chinese official attempted to prevent his national security advisor, Susan Rice, from walking to the motorcade as she crossed a media rope line, speaking angrily to her before a Secret Service agent stepped between the two.
All right, let's bring in some live pictures for you here on RT International. Live pictures from the G20 summit in the Hangzhou region. World leaders coming in and meeting, of course, the host of the venue. There's Trudeau from Canada and, of course, the Chinese President Xi Jinping as well. Here on RT International, we are closely following the G20 summit. All the foreign leaders and dignitaries from around the world in attendance here. Here comes Narendra Modi from India, also coming in to meet his Chinese counterpart here. We've got Daniel Hawkins live on location. It's a big day for news here on RT International. We'll continue to bring you the G20 updates as we get them.